Eurofans, welcome back to That Eurovision Site. Joining me today are Brynja Mary and Sarah Victoria Sverrisdottir, aka Eyjaa, who are in the runnings to represent Denmark in Liverpool. Willkommen, how are you today?
Hi, thank you for having us. We're good. How are you?
I'm good, and brilliant for having you on the show. So before we start, would you like to introduce yourselves to our viewers who may not be that familiar with you, and just tell us a little bit about you and your musical history?
Yeah. Yes. Well, we are Eyjaa, Brynja, and Sarah. We are sisters, and we grew up together with the rest of our siblings. We're also best friends, and we've been doing music together since we were really young. We started in music kindergarten, and since then we've just been doing everything together: singing lessons, guitar lessons, piano, dancing, everything. And now this.
Yeah, and we're originally from Iceland, but Sarah was born in Denmark, and we moved here when I was about 2 months old. So our whole life is pretty much in Denmark, and we were raised here. So, yeah.
So thank you for that. So before starting, always go with a simple question. What are your earliest memories of Eurovision itself?
Oh, well, I have a favorite memory when I was I think I was 8 years old or something, when Emily the Forest won Eurovision. I just remember that was just like, she was just my idol back then, and I was just like crying, like, oh my God, is she gonna win? Is she gonna win? And then I fell asleep that night, like in the final. So I was like, I just fell asleep, and then the next morning I was like crying to my dad, like, no, I missed it. I need to see, like, did she win? And then, they play it the day after again. So I saw it, and I was just, like, the happiest girl to watch her win. And at that moment actually, like, showed me, like, oh my God, it would be the coolest thing if I could stand on that stage one day. And that's kind of like how that dream started. But yeah.
So you've been confirmed as participants in DMGP for just under about a week now. What have been your biggest surprise about this?
Oh, actually, I think
a lot of surprises.
Yeah, we've been really surprised about how supportive people have been already. They've really, like, I can't explain it. We've gotten so much good feedback on it, and already the night before it even was released, people were already talking about it. We were so surprised, like, what? How can this be happening so quickly? And then when it actually got released, people were just going crazy on Twitter and everywhere. That's one of our biggest surprises.
Yeah, we saw some very nice tweets about it, and that's very surreal that so many people are talking about our song and us. That's crazy.
Because did you experience anything like this before because you do have years of experience in the music industry, or is this quite unique?
Well, nothing like this, I would say. This is quite unique, but
like this fast, definitely.
I also think the Eurovision world is very different compared to anything else.
Yeah, and it feels like this like huge family of just all these like Eurovision fans.
It's like a really nice environment to be in.
Yeah. I did experience somewhat the same. I did Eurovision in Iceland, the national final in 2020, and I got some feedback like this, like, on Twitter and everything, but nothing compared to what we've gotten now. So it's crazy.
So actually, because you've just touched on that, so yeah, this is obviously not your first time trying to go Eurovision. So back in 2020, when you were in Songs for Kipnen, how different was the process in going to try and do it for Iceland compared to how it was for Denmark this year? And do you sort of think that experience that you had back in 2020 has helped you or has had any effect?
Yes, definitely. Just by having that experience, like, going through it, like, okay, you kind of like know, okay, we're gonna do this and this and prepare for the show in this way. So it helped me in a lot of ways. Also just getting the experience to like perform live on stage in front of like a whole country. I mean, that's nerve-wracking and huge, but I mean, I'm so grateful that I had that experience for sure. And I think the difference would be, I think in Iceland, like, we're from Iceland, but we've never lived there. So I felt very like new. I felt like, when you go into a new school and you're like, oh, you don't know anybody. It was kind of like that. Like I just went into it, and it was the most fun experience. But I felt very like, like, I don't know anyone here. And the difference is in Denmark here, we know so many people here in the industry, and it just feels like home. Like, we're so comforted around all these people, and it feels great. Yeah.
So is that why you've chosen again to go for Denmark rather than Iceland because of the more connections that you have in the industry?
Yeah, that, and also because we are raised in Denmark and we love Denmark, and all our friends and family, they're here.
And I also think after we became a duo and we wanted to sing together, it just makes more sense for us to, be here to represent Denmark, because that's where we're raised and that's where our friends are. And
Yeah.
our label is also Danish, so it just makes sense for us.
Yeah.
So obviously, as you've stated, you are sisters. How has it been since you have started collabing together, working with family? Has it been stressful, or has it been a lot more easy because like you know each other and like as you say, you're best friends? So how's that affected it?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, I couldn't imagine it any other way. I think it really helps to have my sister in it, because we're also so different, so we can help each other with things. If I'm nervous, she can help me, and the other way around. So it's like, it's really nice to just have a person that you're really close to be there with you through it all.
Yeah, and also we're, sometimes if you're with like let's say these girl groups, they form this group with just friends, and then sometimes, they just, friends drift apart in a way, but we're like sisters, we're like this, for life, because we're sisters. So
Yeah.
in a way, like, we're never afraid to say something like, oh, you're doing it so wrong, or like saying stuff to each other. Like, we're not afraid to do that because we're sisters and we know each other so well. So we're like, oh, wear something else that's ugly, like, and then so it's great.
So you did say you've got some other siblings as well. Is there any plans to maybe bring them into the musical fold, or is it just the duo at the moment?
Well, we're all very into music in our family. Most of our siblings, they are younger than us though, but I mean, if one day anything,
maybe when they get older, I mean, they're all singing and dancing every day, and so that would be cool to form like a huge family band.
Yeah, that could be fun.
And also our dad, he sings and plays all kinds of instruments, so why not just bring dad in?
Could potentially have one group representing one country, one the other.
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
So with your entry, compared to some of your other tracks, such as like Don't Forget Me, Ultraviolet, and Big Feelings, which are a bit more poppy, I Was Gonna Marry Him is much more like mellow and subdued. What prompted sort of this tone shift when you were writing for DMGP? Were you consciously aiming for something a bit like mellower, or was it just natural?
Yeah, when the song was written, it was aimed for Eurovision, like a vibe that we would want to bring to Eurovision. And I think there was also some inspiration in Only Teardrops by Emily de Forest.
Yeah.
Like the flute and stuff, everything like that. There was kind of an inspiration there, but we just felt like we wanted to go in with, that kind of song, and not something really poppy, not something rock or anything.
Yeah.
We just really like this vibe, and
something that really tells a story in a different way, which is why we like fell in love with the song. Because pop songs, they tell it in a very like pretty way, and like, and all our other pop songs are told that way. But I feel like the difference between them and this one is that it's told in this kind of more dark, mellow vibe, or vibe of the story, and it gives just this kind of dark, like mysterious effect to the whole story, because the story is sad of the song. So yeah, I think it's really cool to be performing with this one for sure.
And are you planning to take the sad, somber tone to the visual staging as well, or are you going to leave it more a simplistic staging?
Well, we can't say all the details yet, but it's gonna be like, for sure, it's gonna be a little bit more on the darker side.
Yeah.
We're bringing a lot of, Nordic dark visuals, so.
Yeah, and obviously the story is, the song itself, it's very like sad in the beginning, and then the further the song goes on, it becomes more of like power and strength. And I think the way we're going to perform it is also going to be kind of like that from start to end.
Yeah.
So out with the prospect of representing Denmark, what do you hope to get out of the experience of being at DMGP?
I mean, we just think it's super cool to be able to stand on stage in front of Denmark, our home country, and to show this song that means so much to us, and to show our bond, and just for people to recognize our music, because our music has been playing in the radio, but people haven't actually gotten the chance to put a face on the music.
Yeah.
So we're just happy that people can see the people behind the songs.
Yeah, and also just to get the opportunity to inspire people, like
Yeah.
with our story, you know, like there's so many people who can relate to the topic, like of losing someone or going through something hard in life and becoming stronger on the other side. And that's kind of the message. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, and we hope to inspire at least.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Have you had any feedback so far about the inspiration of it, or about how it's inspired people, or is it a bit too early for that?
Well,
We actually
yeah, we saw this one comment on an Instagram post of our interview where there was a man who had recently lost their husband, and he said that he could really relate to this feeling of losing, and that just made us really happy. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to, you know, we wanted someone to be out there and think, well, I've experienced this, I'm not alone.
Yeah, and you can get stronger after something so hard. So we were so like touched to actually see someone react that way to our song.
Yeah.
So Denmark's fortune in Eurovision in recent years hasn't been that great. Has Denmark's past results affected your desire to participate in the contest, or just was it not an issue for you?
No, I mean, we haven't thought about that at all. I think every year is different. Every year can be different. So what we do this year is, you know, just what's going to happen this year and not the other years.
Yeah, and I think this was like, I don't know, we felt like this was the year for us to participate for some reason.
Yeah.
And hopefully we hope for the best, but we'll see.
So that's bringing us to the end of the interview, but I do just have one final question for you. I
Yes.
think I may have already know the answer just because of based on what you've said already, but if you were to have any previous Danish Eurovision entry perform at your wedding, who would it be?
Okay, that would probably be Emily the Forest.
Yeah.
I would die. I was like, my 7-year-old me was like, oh my God. Yeah, that, or actually Duncan Lawrence. We love him and his song when he won. That one is also beautiful.
Yeah.
Some excellent choices there. So that's all we've got time for. Just a reminder that you'll be able to watch Eyjaa perform I Was Going to Marry Him in the final of Dansk Melodi Grand Prix on the 11th of February, and that the song is available to listen now, and a link can be found in the bio. You can also follow them on Eyjaa Music on Instagram and Twitter.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.